morning. Welcome to the Shakeup program. I'm sitting in this morning for the brother Augustine Ferdinand, who has had to travel at short notice. I wish him all the best and hope that his journey and his involvement is valuable and that it would be a success for all of us. Now, this morning, I want to speak to you on some things that are very important to me. And I suppose it's very important to the people of this country and to all the poor and vulnerable people around the world. Because the poor and the vulnerable are always at risk. Because they are always individuals, governments, and I say governments, corporations, and businesses who always seek to exploit the poor and the vulnerable. Always. At every opportunity they get. And the poor and the vulnerable needs a champion. Has always been so and will always be so. That is why the poor and the vulnerable have to think, have to ponder and focus on their values and interest and always seek to make the best choices in their interest. Of course, again, there are those who would like to convince them otherwise. They victimize them every day by feeding them disinformation, misinformation, and taking advantage of their poverty to convince them about what they think is in their best interest. And in a lot of instances, they fall victim. And sometimes the people or the institutions that are doing it are people and institutions that they trust. That's why I say that the poor and the vulnerable are always at risk. And they need a champion. There are those who would have risen to the occasion to provide valuable and much needed support to the poor and the vulnerable. But sometimes as humans, no matter how well-intentioned we are, we sometimes make errors or the human element comes in where we fall short. And we ought to give recognition to that too, because there's nothing that is perfect. Nothing, no one. Because you cannot find imperfection in an imperfect world. Let me repeat that. You will not find perfection in an imperfect world. So those who are looking for perfection have another thing coming. I always say, if you're looking for perfection, what you have to do is to make your soul right with God and prepare for the time when you leave this earth and go to the great beyond, that your soul would rest with our Father. There you would find perfection. Other than that, don't waste valuable time looking for perfection in this imperfect world. But, again, as humans, we sometimes allow ourselves to be led astray by people whom we trust and believe in. And you may be wondering where Jackson going with that? Where are you going with that? Well, of course, those of you who know me know where I'm going with it. Some of you may not catch on. But I'm talking about partisan politics and governance. I am talking about ideology. I'm speaking to the protection of the poor and the vulnerable. And I'm identifying that the workers has always needed and still needs a champion. Now, we in St. Vincent and the Grenadines have had a lot of experiences with political parties coming to power on the backs of the working people. And indeed, throughout the world, coming to power on the backs of the people. More so on the backs of the poor and vulnerable. And some of them have not delivered anything. Some of them have not delivered anything tangible that the working people can point to and say, this is the single thing that was done that has lifted me up, that has lifted up my children and my grandchildren, that has lifted up my country, in order to prepare the ground for a better future. In order to ensure that I can live, that I can eat, that I can drink, that I can wear, that I can have shelter. And we're talking about in a dignified way. In a dignified way. And that has happened in a lot of instances. For example, we have had the People's Political Party by Ebenezer Joshua, who came to political power, or partisan political power, because Joshua had political power before, but it was the power of the workers. And based on his orientation and his ideology, Joshua made some gains, albeit they were limited because we were living in colonial times. And if he had to do anything, he would have had to travel to Great Britain to negotiate or to request that certain things be done on behalf of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And in a lot of instances, he would have got pushback because he never believed in colonialism. And when you don't believe in colonialism, the colonizer does not love you. In fact, the first chance they get, they would destroy you. So Joshua was able to do some limited things based on his circumstances, based on what existed at the time. But he was beloved by the people because things that were introduced, like holiday with pay, wage negotiations, trade union rights, the power to bargain, and to march and to make demands and to feel some measure of power. Joshua instilled that into the poor and vulnerable. He organized them. And when you are organized, you feel some level of security and belonging. But Joshua's ideology and his hatred for corruption did not allow him to do the things that some politicians have done after him. Joshua died a pauper. But he lived in a period where if he wanted, he could have had all the land in the world. And when I say in the world, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, all the land that he wanted in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, so that he could leave them for his children and his grandchildren. But no, he felt that the things he may have to do would have compromised him. and therefore he did not do that. So he earned nothing and died leaving nothing, and died from malnutrition and old age. Yes, Ebenezer Theodore Joshua. And he is forgotten by a lot of us. He's forgotten by a lot of us. We don't remember him. And it is painful when I see the people who Joshua took and brought within his sphere of influence, and give them confidence and make them feel or give them a sense of belonging and place them in positions where they would have earned more than he did. When I see their children today and their grandchildren doing things that totally contrary to what Joshua believed in, and advocating policies that militate against the interests of the poor, it brings home to you in a significant way the fragility of human nature. But that is enough said about Joshua now, because we are trying to develop a narrative here. We had Milton Cato, came back from England, lawyer, with political ambitions and so on and so forth, and of course formed the St. Vincent Labour Party, challenged Ebenezer Joshua. Joshua always felt that he was programmed by the colonialists. And Milton Cato eventually ascended to political prominence in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And he did some things that we have been able to build on. Passage of legislation, the establishment of things like the National Provident Fund, the Protection of Employment Act. And those things are things that today we have built on those, because the NPF blossomed into the NIS. The Protection of Employment Act has been amended, albeit we had to wait until the Unity Labour Party come to office to have it amended to provide some representation on a daily basis, to bring some dignity to the working environment on behalf of the working people. The Milton Keita administration was involved in the construction of houses for mainly the middle class. But they saw the need to provide housing opportunity for the middle class to own houses and so on and so forth. And when they left a foundation that we have been able to build on. Enter the New Democratic Party in 1984. And rode on the back of Ebenezer Joshua's support. Yes. And had a very cynical view of the poor and vulnerable. And did absolutely nothing to elevate them, to put things in place to take care of their children, their grandchildren, to create an environment that would have helped to push St. Vincent and the Grenadines forward in terms of making Vincentians feel that something is being prepared for their future. Absolutely nothing. And I can talk about some things. I want you to follow me, and those who are listening to me, the airwaves are open. You can call and challenge me on what I'm saying. Because I've spoken about this before, maybe in a different way. I did not go into any historical reference, but I've always said that nothing was done by the New Democratic Party to, as we say, big up the poor and the vulnerable. Nothing. And I can say that with confidence because I've lived here all my life. Albeit I traveled extensively, but I always come back to my mother country, to my home. So I've had the experience. Nothing. The NDP was in office for 17 years. 17 years. They passed no legislation to strengthen the workers, to strengthen the ground, to provide confidence to the workers at the workplace and otherwise. In fact, at one point, they circulated a document called, and I'm looking for it, the Singapore Experience. That was saying to us, keep wages low. suppress trade union activities so that investors could come to the country. Of course, they made all kind of efforts because in 17 years, minimum wages were increased once. Not a single piece of legislation was amended or introduced to protect the worker. But hardly any investor came. Those investors who came in under the CBI, got a whole lot of concessions, and when the concessionary period ran out, they left. You have a call on the line. Caller?
Good morning, Mr. Jackson.
Yes, good morning.
Yes. I listening to you since you come on the program.
Yes.
But Mr. Jackson, you have to mention when you come on the program the way how these people treat you when they was there for 17 years, the kind of struggle, the benefit that people are getting today. You need to let them know.
Boy.
I know, but there's a lot of young people who know the way how these people.
Yes.
It wasn't an easy road.
Yes, they wanted to ship me out in a container, an empty container.
All kind of thing. You couldn't even go in the port authority as a citizen of this country.
They put latchman there to prevent me from coming through the gate.
Exactly so.
You know.
And the benefit that people get in today, they realize how hard you work to get legislation.
You're telling me?
To make sure that people get something good in this country.
Especially the Protection of Employment Act that we have now.
Exactly.
We march and we go on TV and radio. We public meetings we try to have to enlighten the public. The Commissioner of Police said we can't have them.
Yes, I remember.
You know?
It wasn't easy.
So I've been here.
And yeah,
I've been here, and that is why I can tell you, my brother, that nothing was done to pave the way, to provide a platform for the poor and vulnerable, for the working people of this country, even though the NDP benefited from Joshua's support that mainly came from the working people, the plantation workers.
Yeah, exactly so. Exactly so.
Nothing.
When he win all the seats and them back in the 70s, all of that, those people think, well, okay, he is going to continue because there was working class people that Joshua fight for.
Of course. You know what he said to us? You know what he said to us? Don't worry, be happy. You remember that?
Of course I remember. That is why you see you have young people in the civil service today who walk in, don't even have a clue. And when you come on the radio station and they get the message, they will know they never wake up a morning and meet it like how it is.
Yes.
It's something that struggle from the roots come right up. And the benefiting,
you eventually got a party in office that gives support to your cause, not 100%, not as what you would really like, but nobody else has ever done it.
Of course, nobody never do it because them didn't even care about anything.
That's the point. That's the point. In fact, I can tell you, the founder of the NDP, when you speak to those persons who were members of the Milton Cato cabinet, they tell you that he never voted for any measure that was introduced on behalf of the working people. He didn't vote for the Protection of Employment Act. He did not basically give any significant support to the establishment of the National Provident Fund. He did not give any significant support to the independence of this country. And those are things that young people ought to know.
Of course. And even some of them, Mr. Jackson, they benefit well. Some of them went up, they collect the Providence Fund, and then they sit down getting them NIS.
You're telling me. And when the NPF folded up, The money there, large people still drawing down on it. People still
I
drawing
tell
down
you,
on it.
it ain't even. But I'm glad when you come on the radio station there, so and let people know how hard it was for the working class people of this country.
I'm telling you, brother.
And the benefit, there ain't nobody in this country as much as I remember when I go to school with Sonny Boys and the others back then. They was campaigning to make sure that sanitation workers get good and fair situation for themselves.
Yes.
But other than that, they didn't have nobody else in this country. And my partner Bones, I know he worked hard in terms of the Caribbean and so on.
With Congress of Labour, he spent a lot of his years out there. Yeah.
Right, but it ain't nobody who work hard in this country on the grassroots level to make sure somebody get a little bit something more.
Yeah. Some of the provisions in the Protection of Employment Act, for example, there's a provision in there that says if a man falls ill and cannot work anymore, and a doctor certifies that he or she cannot work anymore, the employer has to pay severance. I remember under the NDP, we clamor for the act to be amended to include those things. Nobody bothered with you for 17 years. They didn't bat an eyelid. There are persons who got ill, and the employer said, look, if he's sick, he's sick. If he can't work, he can't work. We don't have to pay. And those persons went home in poverty.
Mr. Jackson, the same thing that you say in there. I know people who work with people for over 15 years.
Yes.
And they get sick. Couldn't work anymore. I know one who passed away. If people have to make up on choices, they could get to give him a decent burial, and burial been so cheap back then.
Yes. And not only that, I know persons who people have to give them a piece of food after working for 30 odd years with an employer. And fall sick, can't work. Today that ain't happening. Today,
no,
that ain't happening because the Protection of Employment Act is very clear through the amendment that was done in 2003. 2 years after the ULP came to office. 2 years. And we struggled for 17 years. Because the Protection of Employment Act, it was the Protection of Employment Act number 16 of 1980. 80, passed by the Milton Cato administration. When the NDP left in 2001, it was still the Protection of Employment Act number 16 of 1980.
Of course, I remember. But I only hope that young people is listening and young people will learn, because they're enjoying something that you work very hard for, and I'm glad for that they're enjoying it, but they should know also where it comes from.
But that's your life's mission, you see, and people don't understand.
So I hear listening to you.
Yes, man. Love.
Yes.
All right. We are in for a break, so we take a break now.
That could have been you. An accident that could have been avoided because your tires had almost no grip on the road. Safety is a factor that should never be overlooked when it comes to your car or whatever you drive. SVG Tire Sales and Services in Falls Avenue and in Arnisvale carries a wide selection of quality new tires to fit any car, truck, minibus, or SUV, so you can experience a comfortable and safe commute every time. We are agents for the world's most reliable brands on and off the road, including Kenda Tires, the king of the mountain, Cooper Tires, king of the road and track, Ostone, the king of the outback, and High Fly, the king of the Asian highway. We also carry new tires for light or heavy-duty trucks from MRF, High Fly, and Linglong. A reliable set of new tires keep you, your passengers, and your payload always in the safe lane. So when you need quality tires with reliability at 100%, choose SVG Tire Sales and Services in Kingstown, 457-1467, or in Arnisvale, 456-6444. SVG Tire Sales and Services. Performance and reliability proven when the rubber meets the road.
Yes, sir.
Our industry relies on all of us to play our part. We take pride in showcasing our beautiful island, our craft, our cuisine, and our warm Vincentian hospitality.
Each of us play a crucial role in showcasing our vibrant tourism industry.
We can create spaces where visitors can unwind, connect with nature, and embrace tranquility of our beautiful surroundings.
We need everyone on board to help us create an exceptional experience for our guests.
Join us at our National Tourism Community Consultations as we shape the future of tourism in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
It's everyone's business, yeah. Love it, embrace it.
Do you spin a dial to make a call on your rotary phone from the 60s?
No.
Are you driving an unreliable and risky automobile made in the 1900s?
Of course not.
Are you still fiddling with an antenna to get good signal on your black and white television from the 20s?
Really?
Then why are you still stuck in the past, sitting on an unintelligent 1930s design toilet? That's right, 1930s design. What does your bathroom say about you? Don't get left behind. The future is now. Be smart. Be progressive. Get yourself a smart toilet seat or a complete toilet today. You can visit the My Smart Toilet Seat office on the 3rd floor of the Blue Corner building opposite the old Anglican School on Bay Street. Our smart toilets are also available throughout St. Vincent at retail outlets with the orange flags. For more information, you can call us at 457-1703 or visit our website, justwashit.vc.
Kiriko Maroon and String Band Music Festival 2024, April 26th to the 28th. Coming together to preserve and showcase our culture is who we are. Friday the 26th, Salmon at the Chapel. Early morning libation, 3 p.m. Saraka, 7 p.m. the official opening ceremony and cultural evening. Saturday from 10 a.m. Hillsborough Square. It's Strings in the City. Then at 8 p.m. we move to the Botanical Gardens for cultural explosion with local and regional performances featuring Touch the Band. Admission $60. Then on Sunday it's the grand finale, Paradise Beach. From 12 noon, musical entertainment, and from 4 p.m. Paradise Beach Bands, cultural entertainment and live music. Admission $20. Come and learn to dance the quadrille and big drum on Paradise Beach every Sunday after the launch until the festival ends. Kiriko Maroon and String Band Music Festival 2024, April 26th to the 28th.
The flavor nice, it's locally made. Affordable price, Lord, up to $3 retail. When you see we line it, with the red and white case, show me what you like it. It's cigarette from Empire, Holdings Limited. It's cigarette from Empire, Holdings Limited. With over 60 years experience, hold the best tobacco, best ingredients. Yeah. This is your boy Lou to say, support local, buy your cigarettes from Empire Holdings Limited. 10 cigarettes in a pack for up to $3 retail. Remember, smoking is not for minors.
99.9, the heart and soul of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. WEFM is SVG.
It's time for Shakeup on WEFM 99.9.
Welcome back to the program, Shakeup. Well, we on a roll this morning. We had a caller who was there with us during those extremely difficult periods when we would have had to be having to find money to purchase television time to talk about our grievances, to try to get information to the people. Around the time when we had to be on the streets, marching as much as we can. And at times, threaten industrial action. At times, take industrial action. And There are persons who would meet me at times. Jackson, and I strike again. Jackson, when last me see you on TV? And I would say, well, if I have something to go on TV for, I will go on TV. If I have something to strike for, I would strike. If I have something to march for, I would do that. But we have evolved. And whatever may happen is not significant enough for us to take those extreme actions. Because when we speak, someone listens and we get some redress. May not be 100% of what we want, but we get some redress. It was not happening in the past. Sometimes they understand, sometimes they bust out, laugh, and walk away. Well, what I do, I just frown. Most I can do. But the fact is that we are in a new place, we're in a different place. And we have to act as if we're in a new place and we are in a different place. You know, simple things like working conditions. And I only call them simple because it's a given that you ought to be seeking to create conditions for your employees that would allow them to feel that they belong, that they're important. Milton Cato built the ministerial building that houses the Postal Corporation. His office was up there. And all the other conditions were remnants of the colonial system, the old buildings, and so on and so forth. There's no young person today at the age of 25, 30 that is familiar with the conditions under which public servants had to work. Sometimes I go to the treasury and I used to be afraid for them. Wires hanging all over their head, all on the floor, with some ugly looking plywood or Salitex partitions. The only thing Mitchell did, or the NDP did, was to build the ivory tower on the reclamation site. Give the project to one of his cronies. Well, them used to get all the work. And give a little fella a piece of subcontract and so on and so forth. Them used to get all the work, all the construction work. The ministerial building was left to run down, where it was declared unsafe. Of course, it was rehabilitated under the Unity Labour Party, and the working conditions of public servants, including policemen, increased or was improved by leaps and bounds. Because you have an administration who believe that your working environment contributes to productivity. That the dignity of the human person or must be reflected in his working and living conditions. That is why also housing is a very important element of the government's policy. It makes you feel bouncy. It makes you feel somebody cares about you. And that sometimes, even though you may not have the love for the people who are initiating these policies, you are encouraged to do better based on the environment that would have been created. There are people who believe those things and who are acting them out, who are playing them out. What is sometimes worrying is that the recipients of these things, the beneficiaries of these things, are in a lot of instances delinquent, unappreciative, without good reason. Because you ask them and they cannot give you a proper or convincing explanation as to why they feel the way they feel, as to why they're doing the things that they're doing. In the same public service there are public servants who are working every day to bring this government down. A government that they are going to miss. A government that they are going to regret. That they would have assisted in bringing down. On the premise, in a lot of instances, that they have been there too long. What is too long? 23 years? We are over 40 years independent, and we are a young nation. We are described as a young nation. And over half of that, the Unity Labour Party has been in office. We are a young nation. We are developing. We are evolving. We are getting there. We seem to have a call on the line, my dear. Caller, you're onto the program. Hello.
Hey, Jackson.
Soldier.
How are you going, my brother?
Me dey here.
I killed junk for me and I tell the boy, me has killed nice.
Well, I don't want that to happen, you know, because I want it to be sober. Because the time coming when you have to be really sober.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, man, you imagine that I know you don't like to hear this name.
Uh-huh.
This fella who plays smart with stupidness, Mr. Kingsley, talk about change and playing music to keep people hypnotized with Labour Party people with the good government that they have.
No music, well, all of them play music now.
Yeah.
Well, we're going
it's time for change and all kind of thing, and talking as well a good thing.
We'll continue
But
to lead them.
change and say, well, maybe have sympathy with he.
We'll continue
to make a change.
Don't worry. Make a
Boy,
change.
this man not only cussing, but I believe this guy have a blight on him. Eh? No, tell me something now. The whole world looking for good prime minister and good president to run the country. Haiti, every money man in the change now. Barbados changing up. This one changing up. All kind of people changing up. And it's like thing get good again worse.
Mm-hmm.
We have a prime minister that God bless us with.
Yes.
And this man is telling me, in all the goodness this man doing and he benefits he bringing to this country.
Mm-hmm.
This man is coming on a radio station and tell people it's time for the Labour Party to go over here. You have a good wife, whom who's faithful and nice to you, and give you a want, and you go in and change it to bring in a bantan.
But yeah, but you see, sometimes these guys has nothing to live for, you know. So they don't care. Yeah. You see, I can tell you something. What sometimes stepping helps to shape your conscience and your attitude and your expectations is the family.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a good, stable, loving family,
yes,
it helps to condition your thinking, your attitude, and your expectations. Some people Some people don't have that.
Yeah,
so they are lost.
Want us to bring...
They are lost. They're gone astray.
Yes. And when you have somebody in the family,
yes,
too much dishonest people in the family, and you're a good person, you can rest in peace. Well, so the check on Israel, Bruce and Quebecers and them people, the dishonestness in them, and garden fight and liquor and them. How could you stone God? And God is man getting the blessing from you want to run a country. Mm-hmm. That means you will care about nobody, you will stone down the priest and all. If you get a chance.
Well,
that is within the mind. I say, if they humbug me, do it again.
Well, the same
and
God.
You taking the risk.
But you see, step in the same God that you stone is the great judge. So you have to know you're in trouble.
yes.
You have to know you're in trouble. Big trouble.
But all in all saying, you know, these people say, they say who put the suit on dead? Who put them the suit on dead? Because you may say not trust God. He not trust God, not evil. I don't find it after some stupidness. Friday can't match up with Jim Mitchell and his stupidness and them the worst. To me, them the worst than Jim Mitchell, but at the same time, it being nonsense after nonsense, they decided to be so angry.
Well,
they came to be so loving and so transparency and so and talk about when they talk about what they talk about fairness.
Yes.
And evidence people cussing.
To come
tracing good things into wrong things to get in power.
To corroborate what you're saying, step in. To corroborate what you're saying, step in. The same man said that when he make up his mind to do something, not even the devil could stop him. You laugh.
Yeah.
I could tell you about that, you know, because he said that in relation to me. I was Yes, I was commenting on the fact that the European Union called a conference in Trinidad when they were going to eliminate the protection we had for our bananas. So they called a conference in Trinidad to tell us that we must diversify because banana is in trouble. And we must start to do things to help to make room to earn the kind of money that banana is not going to earn anymore. And they were saying tourism is such one thing that we ought to diversify in. Well, you notice now what happening with this government. You see how fast they're moving.
Yes.
And this man go to the EU. and got $60 million to build a small airport in Beckway.
Yes.
In the face of all that. So I started to write. And I said, how could you be listening to the European Union or the Europeans who you boast that you are part of them, telling you, diversify, prepare your country to welcome tourists. But instead of looking for an international airport, you build a small craft airport in Beckway.
And then when people look at the skin,
yeah, so $60-something million. Oh,
yeah, getting the skin to go to school.
The man get
somebody had no shoes.
The man get crazy.
Yes.
He start
he always crazy. He just come crazy.
He start to encourage me members at the Beckway Power Station to resign from the union. Yes, Papa. And he said, if I want an international airport, I must take my car and drag stone and throw them in the sea down on his veil.
Yes, I hear that.
To back off by Nancy Rock.
Well, we were dealing with evil, you know.
Yeah, and he said, when he make up his mind to do something, not even the devil could stop him.
Well, Margaret Land, I was going to quit devil, so they know his devil ideas and how the devil has moved.
Yeah.
Because this guy, Vincent, can work in the starvation pay. We need an international airport. We need the tourism to boost up our industry. You do something to help yourself to diversify from banana. And this man they can use that and then buy land for 10 cents and 50 cents.
That's the point.
And aiming.
That's another significant point that you have to elaborate on, step in. The poor and vulnerable. We're talking about that this morning. What did they do in terms of helping the poor and vulnerable to get land and housing? They go and get
land for themselves.
Yes. Give
they
them
grabbing everything for themselves. Some of them come to stock center
yes. Lands that worth 30 and 40 US a square foot. They get them for 45 cents, you see?
Yeah. And then they call it Mr. Clean.
45 cents, you see? And then turn around and take those same land and sold them. Some of them sold them and make millions.
Yeah. The last figure me was 50 million in land sell a can of one.
The young people ought to know them things here.
With them I kind of things there.
They ought to hear these things here.
We have some Pakistan was ruling we keep it on.
What
and we have a WhatsApp set up Pakistan up there now to the club again.
Yeah, what happened? What happened is that this government did the opposite. They give poor people at 10 cents a square foot.
Yeah.
10 cents.
But we know them they buy land. Put 10 cents a square foot and thing and sell it back and make all the million and people suffer in Sylvan soon. This government put in one night salary, a month salary for children and them. I forgot what they call the program there. These people are evil overnight, you know. And they working on, you see, Kingsley, you see them, you see Vincent and mine and Soul are they working on. They use all the KRS in peace, you know.
You wish some of them the evil from both. You wish some of them behaving.
It's when all the conscience take all them and think all the can hide from saying things. Like you and the car, say America and things do and all kind of thing.
What?
Them.
Step in.
King Joseph paid to see progress in Sylvan, you know. King Joseph paid to see any structure in Sylvan, children in education and things and music academy.
No, they want to see the NDP in office to roll back all the benefits to the poor and vulnerable. That ain't gonna happen. I'm telling you, that ain't gonna happen. Because my God is real. Real.
People like you and them. And praying, and God see he need a poor people Sylvan so and how they surviving. Why you had to keep the NDP out of office because NDP don't trust him. Margaret Land and say look for Satan.
So right now,
no harm dead.
Right now,
black poison.
Right now?
And for the same whole yet?
As it
This
relates...
is a bunch of garbage. Just like how and it's very full of garbage.
And it's really full of garbage anymore, Papa. And it's really where they used to put garbage in, and it's really look like a beautiful settlement. I mean, it's still vulnerable because you can't do anything on top of that. But when you look at it, you don't believe garbage was down there. We put an end to that. We put an end to that. We have much to celebrate, much to talk about. And rather than the guy try to come up with something tangible, he's saying that people in St. Vincent hungry, can't get medicine, and Ralph dancing. Or Ralph playing domino. Well, he's a dull boy. And he continue to be dull. Because when you're dull, nobody don't see you. You know? So if they ain't seeing you, they ain't going to lick you. So you go ahead. You continue. You know? They continue. Well, we are in for our second break.
The flavor nice, it's locally made. Affordable price, Lord, up to $3 retail. When you see we line it, when the red and white case, show me what you like. It's cigarette from Empire. Holdings Limited, it's cigarette from Empire. Holdings Limited, with over 60 years experience. Hold the best tobacco, best ingredients. This is your boy Lou to say, support local, buy your cigarettes from Empire Holdings Limited. 10 cigarettes in a pack for up to $3 retail. Remember, smoking is not for minors.
Catch a new vibe and the lingo. More pan more so the tingo. Is more with flow if you didn't know. All these deals is a winner. More pan, more with flow. More data, more talk for sure. More WhatsApp, video, cast app, unlimited talk, so you not stop chat.
Flow prepaid combo plans just got better. Loaded with even more data and unlimited talk. Take advantage of WhatsApp and all its features with our new prepaid plans. Unleash your creativity with more social media. Dial *129 to activate.
Now that's the new vibe in the lingo. Yes! More pan, more so the tingo. It's more with flow, now you really know. Catch it now. All these deals make you save more. Get more!
St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's a whole new world out there. Reaching new customers and getting products faster. That's what it's all about. Ocean freight rates are skyrocketing, so don't pay more for slower service. It's time to switch to faster, more reliable air cargo service with SkyMax Cargo. Up to 3 flights weekly to and from the USA, Puerto Rico, and the Caribbean islands. Providing excellent import, export, and e-commerce solutions to put you ahead of the competition. For special low rates on small packages and air cargo, contact SkyMax today. 784-456-5400. Local agents SwiftPack, Interprime Cargo. Call 784-456-5400 to book your shipments today.
A storm or hurricane can cause extensive damage and tremendous loss. There can be flooding, landslides, and lightning strikes. Are you protected? What about an earthquake, volcanic eruption, a tsunami, or even a bushfire? Are you protected? Century Insurance protects you, your family, your home, your business. Talk to one of our friendly agents today. Call our Kingstown office at 456-2247 or Beckway 458-3855, or contact our representative, Mr. Jason Sargent, in the Bayshore Mall in Beckway at 454-4260. Call Century Insurance. We can protect you. Century Insurance. Upstairs, the First St. Vincent Bank building in Kingstown.
Did you know? Have you used them? Virtus, Medushi, Lily's. These are among the best bathroom tissue products available any place. Excellent quality, larger sheet sizes, and more sheets per roll. Check them out and compare with others. And guess what? Guess what? These are produced right here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I tell you, Vinci's have class. Yes, real class as always. Let's keep our standards high. Buy Virtus, Medushi, and Lilies. Made by St. Vincent Containers.
99.9, the heart and soul of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. WEFM is SVG.
It's time for Shakeup on WEFM 99.9.
Welcome back to the Shakeup program. Well, you're talking about choices. We're talking about what is good for you and what you should recognize that is not good for you. And we are talking partisan politics. We are talking about the poor and the vulnerable. We're talking about the working people who needs a champion. A champion is someone who does wonderful things. In some instances, this stops short of being a hero. In some instances, they are. What you have is a heroic government in office. Not a perfect government, but a heroic government that has done and continues to do things to put St. Vincent and the Grenadines in a position where our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren can hold their heads up and feel proud to be of Vincentian. Gone are the days when our young people leave this country and go overseas and would occupy a job as a porter, as a dishwasher, sometimes as a babysitter. I mean, even though babysitting pays a lot of money, sometimes that's the only job you could find. No. Young people leave this country. They're leaving with CXC certificates or an A-level certificate or college degree so that they could continue their education, so that they can use that for matriculation. And it's getting better and better. If that was the only thing that this government would have done, there'd be a space in my heart, a place in my heart for them for life. It's not only that, it's much more than that. So they're threatening to take over your whole heart. We have to, as Mosiah used to tell me, use your owner and sleep. When I make mischief as a little boy and try to blame it on my friends, when she done give me a good whooping, say, where we tell you, use your owner and sleep. Well, I telling you now. Clementina Ash, Mossy Ash say, use your own eye and sleep. See for yourself. Make sense of what you're seeing and hearing. Because we are at a point where the world is not what it used to be. Gone are the days when a school dropout or a person with a school leaving certificate could find him or herself without pursuing higher education, because you can. But without pursuing higher education, rise to any significant levels in our society. Unless you have a particular skill and you use that skill to elevate yourself financially. The world now needs certification. They want to see what you have, what you would have achieved by going to school. This government are in touch with the times. From day one, that has been the position of this administration. Some people hate them for it because the children of the poor and vulnerable through opportunities for higher education have elevated themselves and has occupied positions in the middle class. Alongside the so-called middle class, which some of them are fading out. And I talk about family names. Family names, because there are certain families when I was a little boy, a young boy, they were the middle class, the upper class, they were the people in society. Today, some of the names that are being called are children of peasants. Children of dirt poor people who had very little or no academic education. But their children are doctors, lawyers, engineers, forensic scientists, professors. And the list is multiplying. The list is getting longer. Some people vex for that. But what are they going to do about it? God, they can't stop it. And even if by some act of irresponsibility, the working people of this country decide that they are going to change the Unity Labour Party from office, whoever take over would not be able to reverse it. Or their fortunes would be reversed. Yes. Their fortunes would be reversed if they attempt to reverse it. So we have come to a point where there is no turning back. That is why I continue to say that the 23 years of Unity Labour Party rule is going to be hard to match by any succeeding administration. And if a dead hands can bring news, give me. They would not be able to be matched by any administration. And Ralph Everard Gonzalez, as head of government, as head of the party that has led this revolution, has already secured his position as a national hero of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Let me tell all you something. I not agree with this thing where they put in there to say, oh, you have a dead to become a national hero. I not believe a dead hero. You want to celebrate them? Well, me could watch them in the face. I could see them blink. Somebody have to recommend, somebody have to change that. But that's the reality. And if you don't believe me, I want you to sit down and ponder hard on those things that has happened since 2001 and the impact it has had on the lives of Vincentians, particularly the children of the poor and vulnerable. Think. Be honest to yourself. As culture asks you in one of their songs, please be honest to yourself. Because you wouldn't be able to put it down. Look. Who you think these last set of minimum wage increases and minimum working conditions and so on, who you think they're for? The rich and the upper class? Even the middle class? Who you think they're for? It's for the poor and vulnerable. And why you think on average increase in minimum wage has been every 7 years, which is a high ratio, a high rating in the world, not in the Caribbean, in the world. Why you think it is so? Because somebody don't like the rich and the powerful? No. is because the poor and the vulnerable has a champion. That's what it is. And we got to appreciate that. A step into this country has been blessed with leadership. We have a call on the line. Call you onto the program, Shakeup. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, Jackson, my brother. I don't feel good when I hear on the radio. Maybe I'm going Jackson.
What is my,
Well,
is my family?
I called to tell you. You hear me, man?
Yeah. Yes, man. I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, I was saying to you, I met a guy yesterday who was walking out at, well, he worked at Lato, but he working some kind of hours now. And then
he walks
7
where?
to 7, and then
He works where?
he works at Lato, but he works with a security company. He didn't tell you security name.
Oh, well, don't say he works with Lotto. Say he works with a security company because I represent the work.
That's right. And that's right. That's right.
No draconian hours under my watch.
That's right. Like 7 to 7, no overtime, 150.
Mm-hmm.
How can you get it right now?
Yeah, well, the fact of the matter is that he has to go to the Department of Labor and lodge a complaint there on those hours and how he is paid, because you have legislation in the country that protects him. If he working long hours in the night, he's supposed to get paid for overtime if he work more than 8 hours, and he's supposed to get a night differential payment, which a lot of them don't pay.
That's right.
But you see some people...
like weekends and holidays, it's the same pay?
Well, when you're doing security work, you're on shift. So sometimes shift workers don't benefit from holidays and so on and so forth because you have to work every day. You understand?
But you benefit from overtime?
Yes, you benefit from overtime. And there are some special days that you would get recognition for. As getting extra payment, you know. But the thing is that they need to go to the Department of Labor. But some people afraid to go. But I want to tell you. Listen, me soldier. That's why I talk about the Protection of Employment Act. In the Protection of Employment Act, the amended Protection of Employment Act of 2003 says that if I have a problem with my employer and I go and lodge a complaint and my employer terminate my service because of that, it becomes a criminal offense. They have to answer.
That's right. Okay, my brother.
That is there.
I'll let him know that.
That is there. Yes, that is there. So you can't be afraid.
And a lot of people getting exploited and so like that, man.
The fear is unfounded. You know?
Yeah.
You know? Yes, man.
Yeah, keep on doing it, brother.
Love, man, every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So we got to realize and accept that the existence of the Unity Labour Party in office is a blessing. And we got to reckon. You know, I make an observation, serious observation. As a trade unionist, as a patriot, as a citizen of this country, that this administration has not moved as previous administration did against persons who don't support it, especially the poor and vulnerable working people. I see projects that has come on stream. And I've been living here all my life. I'm 70 years old. And there are children of families who don't want to hear the word ULP. And they're working. Nobody interfere with them. They're working. And sometimes more than one member of the family. I also know that persons coming out of college and persons who are supporting the Unity Labour Party are home 6 months, 8 months, a year, 2 years. And children of persons who don't support the Unity Labour Party come out and they start to work 3, 4 months after. This is not information that you can think. Somebody sending a thing here. A WhatsApp. They're saying, we don't want the NDP. They're not good for SVG. Look at their behavior in Parliament. They oppose everything that is good for SVG. They don't have no plan to move SVG forward. Well, that's what I'm saying. And that has been the theme of my program today. I love my country. And I am prepared to continue to make the sacrifice for my country. I have gone through enough. But my love for my country and the people who are doing good for my country remains steadfast. And who want to think that I'm a dog for doing that, let them go ahead. Because Mosiash taught me that dog is man's best friend. We had a little mangy-skin dog. Yeah, mangy-skin dog. And all them couldn't lay fast enough under the flat house we had. And from the time the first signal that he done lay, if we ain't crawl under the house to get an egg, he done gone and get it. And no matter how we try chase down and beat it, she said, leave the dog alone. Leave the dog. Because she believed that dog is man's best friend. I believe that too. So Noel Jackson is man's best friend. I want to thank you for listening to me and love every time.
That brings us to the end of our Shakeup program. We will now be presenting